Today we're on to welcome Dr. Nayan Patel to the show today. I'm very excited to have him on. He's founder of the Central Compounding Pharmacy for Drugs, and essentially this is basically all about optimizing hormones, right? Now, hormones are such a critical aspect of our overall biology and overall wellness. And today we're going to uncover a lot of confusion that may go into this, as well as some optimization strategies and things that we can actually take away for overall wellness today. Learn about peptides, glutathione, and everything that goes into these things to overall wellness. And we're excited to have him on today to share his insights with us. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. So I'm very curious to hear your story and how you got into wellness and hormone optimization and everything you're going to be of service today.
Absolutely. So, after graduating from one of the top two schools in the United States, I was there to try to figure out how can I help people achieve the best treatment in medications, right? So, as a pharmacist, I said, hey, I can help people get off the medication, try to heal the problems and get rid of the medications. Very soon, I was discovered that only thing I could have done is manage people's problem for the rest of their lives. It's like you're buying a subscription with the pharmaceutical companies and said, hey, I pay you so much money, can you take care of all my drug needs? I said, oh my God, it's an awful way to say it, but that's exactly what happened. It's just all we do is manage people's problems. We never get rid of the problems. So quickly I say, you know what, this is not going to be my lifelong journey. I need to move on and do something different because I can't do this for the rest of my life and knowing that this is not the right thing to do. So dove into compounding and making customized medications, started helping a lot of patients over there. And from there, when you start doing customized medicine, I mean, the whole world opened up. And I started attracting lots of multimillionaires and billionaire clients. I said, hey, I got all the money in the world and I want to live longer. Do you got something for anti-aging purposes? And so my journey basically started in 1999, about 4 or 5 years after graduating from pharmacy school, to really dive into this area of wellness, anti-aging, longevity medicines, functional medicines, integrative medicines, and start delving into peptides, custom compounding, trying to figure out how can I work with our own human peptides, all those things. So we are here today because I have done this for a long time, so I can share all my insights with you. I have dealt with the peptides when today we have this GLP peptides for weight loss is the like number one selling drug in the world. But I dealt with those types of peptides like 25 years ago, so we can talk about that as well. And then the master peptide the body produces naturally, which is glutathione, which I think should change the whole world for once and for all.
Awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like, you kind of got into the world of hormone optimization because it really helped you, right? It's like there's so many different things out there, right? But essentially, like hormones are such an important part of overall wellness. And once we start to optimize these things, we can really transform our overall health overall. So it kind of sounds like how you got into it. Is that right?
That's right. Is that
Awesome. So can you describe what hormones actually are, right? Because these are such, like as I mentioned, they're very important for overall wellness, but sometimes we don't really understand what these are. So can you describe what those are?
so? The hormones. I mean, if you think about hormones, most people will talk about hormones that are, for example, for guys, it's testosterone. It's the sex hormones, right? And for the ladies, we have estrogen, progesterones, testosterone, DHA. These are all sex hormones, and that's what we talk about when it comes to hormones. Anything else, we don't consider that as a critical. But let me just tell you, if you think about sex hormones, they are actually 10% of the total solution for all the problems you have. And yet we put all our faith into those sex hormones. In the reality, the bottom, if you look at the pyramid, the tip of the pyramid, which is sex hormones, is only 10% of the total solution. The bottom of the pyramid, which is 40% of the total solution, is stress hormones or cortisol, right? And most people will say, well, I can't do much about it. It is what it is. But, I mean, you put yourself in the situation, so now you have to figure out how to either stay in it, manage it, or get out of it. This next 30% of the solution is insulin or diet, nutrition. So if you think about it, 70% of the total solution, which is insulin, diet, or stress hormones or cortisol, is in your own hands. Next 20% is thyroid, and 10% is sex hormones. And yet, when people come to me, they want to take care of all the problems with just sex hormones, which is not going to happen. I may get some of the symptomatic relief, but overall, I look at every single thing to make sure they're all in proper ratio, proper balance off for them to feel optimum.
Got it. Yeah. So it sounds like it's not just about the hormones, but it's actually the proper ratios as well.
It is the proper ratio and it's the sequence, right? What do you do first? I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're not sleeping, if you're having symptoms, I will get your sex hormones first to get rid of the symptoms. But that's not the solution. That is just putting a band-aid over a problem. The real solution is, can I fix your adrenals or your stress hormones and fix your insulins or your diet and then so on and so forth. If I can fix all those things, the sex hormone becomes like just a tool. You can use it or don't use it, doesn't matter, but the bulk of the solution is on the bottom where we manage the stress and the diet.
Got it. And to my understanding, hormones are kind of chemical messengers that send messages throughout the entire body. Is that right?
That's it, right? The hormone is just a messenger. You can shout really loud because when people use a messenger, they want to get the message across. Now, keep in mind, the body responds to every single thing and not just one message. But if you only got one message, sometimes you shout really loud. That means you have to overdose on the hormones to get the message across. And that's when you get in trouble. So if you think of hormones as a messenger, insulin is a hormone, cortisol is a hormone, right? Thyroid is a hormone. So these are all different messages. And so I want to make sure that if you use all the hormones in a proper ratio, then you can use, or you can whisper and still get the message across. So that's what I want to make people understand, that if they're messengers, we have to make sure the message is in the whisper mode, not in the shout out loud mode.
Got it. So, what is hormone replacement therapy essentially? Is that something that is useful for people? Like, what's your take on that?
So, when it comes to hormones, it is absolutely useful to replace if it's missing. But at the same time, I want people to find out that hormones did not get misplaced or depleted just because you start aging. Even though aging may have a component in there for depletion of the hormones or imbalance of your hormones, you got to make sure that every single thing is in proper ratio. Your stress depletes your hormones. Your diet can deplete your hormones. And so having those components in a address in the hormone replacement therapy is a must. And if the replacement therapy is indicated, by all means, please, we have to use them correctly to make sure that they have been addressed. But the real controversy is the hormone replacement therapy is you can only replace what you have. If you have human hormones, you cannot replace with horses estrogens and progesterones and things like that, or some other animal hormones. You have to use human hormones. And that's where the biggest misconceptions comes into play. We see that there's one thing is missing, and instead of giving you that stuff, we're giving you something else. It's like, for example, in my bank account, there's a bunch of dollars missing. What if I put pesos in there? I mean, it's still money, right? But that's useless in America. And so I want dollars to put in my bank account. That's why. But when the hormones are missing, you want the human hormones back into your system, not some other animals' hormones.
Right, that makes sense. So it sounds like you're more so into the natural thing first, right? How can we actually optimize our hormones and get to the underlying cause, right? Because as you mentioned, they don't just happen to kind of decline just because, right? There's environmental factors that go into it as well.
Exactly. And so we need to address all those things early on, very early on. Like I do a lot of ladies and they have issues with polycystic ovaries and they have diet issues and exposure to toxicities. And because of that, the hormones gets out of range. And when they get out of range, either they have too much of estrogens and not enough progesterones, or vice versa, and that those things can really put a dent on the women's hormone balancing. And so sometimes you have to figure out, how do I fix all those things? Can I reduce your exposure to all these toxic chemicals and heavy metals? And if I do that, the hormone gets properly balanced. Or you can just give hormones by itself and balance them off, but then the underlying cause is still there, and if you do not get rid of that underlying cause, no matter what you do, the problem just keeps on coming back over and over and over again. So finding the underlying cause and removing them sometimes is a lot more beneficial, for, at least a lot long lasting, than just trying to fix the hormones itself.
Right. So, what are some of those environmental causes? Like, why are hormones such a, something that is problematic for people these days?
So all these hormones get affected by a lot of different things. What we call it is endocrine disruptors is what we call them. The whole endocrine system is basically it's the brain. The brain signals the ovaries or the testes to produce the hormones. But if there's toxicity in the brain, then the brain misfires and doesn't send the right signals. So what causes that misfiring or causes the toxicity in the brain that can disrupt these things? Smoking, alcohol, exposure to all the toxic chemicals. They all have hormonal type chemical structures that can send a false hormone signaling to your brain, and that could trigger that could misfire something else. It's like you get the wrong message, right? If your body gets the wrong message, you can respond to the wrong message, and the response or reaction is not going to be in your favor, and that's what happens. And so even exposure to a lot of heavy metals like mercury and cadmium and arsenic can actually disrupt all your hormone balancing as well. So all these things we expose to on a daily basis, either knowingly or unknowingly anyways. And so understanding that it is in part of the environment is going to be important, because then you can see how we can get rid of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like there's so many things that we're not aware of that we're just engaging on a day-to-day basis that are just disrupting our hormones like all the time. Like environmental toxins, heavy metals, there's so many different things. It's like it makes it difficult to have optimized hormones.
It is, and sometimes you eat, you'll eat your meat source that is infused with hormones to get the meat bigger, and now you're consuming those hormones in the meat source, and so how do you get out of this whole rat race? And sometimes it's difficult. But here's the one thing I'll tell people: nobody came to us because they were not doing something. Nobody came to us because they overdid something. So sometimes it's like my prescription is to stop doing things, right? Do less for your body. The less you do for the body responds to it better. Instead of when people come to me and say, don't you have some drugs to help me with this thing, right? And so my answer to them is, well, you didn't come here because you lacked the medication. You came here because you did something, overdid something, then I want to get rid of it sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times, like the body knows how to heal itself, right? We just have to get out of the way.
You're speaking my language, Anthony. That's why I tell all the people, the best doctor, the best pharmaceutical company in the world is your human body. You know what?
Right.
We're just getting in the way. The body is telling us, hey, can you please get out of my way? Just leave me alone. I'll fix it myself. But no. I'm going to throw this drug. I'm going to throw this hormone, this steroids or whatever, right? Just keep on dumping things over here. I'm taking this vitamin and this pills and over drinking water, and people do all kinds of things, and all the body wants is just take a break, stay out of my body, and let me fix it.
Right. So when it comes to hormone optimization, like what are some natural strategies in your mind that we can actually utilize on a day-to-day basis? Like what are some things and strategies that we can do to have optimal hormones?
So for me, I want to make sure that when I'm dealing with hormones, I'm only doing the bare minimum replacement to get the message across. I'm not here to, if you're 55-year-olds, I don't want to get your hormone levels to like you're 21. That's not my goal. Because at 21, your signals are different, your body responds to it differently, the body reacts to it differently, the body heals in a different pattern, a different manner, and a different speed. You cannot expect the same thing to happen at the age of 50, 55, or 65, right? And so we got to stay within our lane. I said, hey, great. If the body would like to heal faster, great. I will support as it goes. But I'm not going to send a bunch of signals I said, hey, come on, fix me. Come on, make me some bigger muscle mass, or get rid of all my symptoms away. And I'm going to get you a whole bunch of hormones to do that part. And in reality, it does not work that way. So what I have found out in my patient population is that the blood test, saliva test, urine test, doesn't matter what test you do, doesn't give you the whole picture of what's wrong with you. Symptoms tells me what's wrong with you. If I listen to the patients long enough, I'll know exactly what's going on with their life. And my job at that point is to try to figure out, okay, how much can I give a little bit of hormones to address the symptoms for you at this point? So sometimes it's just giving one hormone, two hormones at the most, trying to get you in a proper ratio. If you're menopausal, then I understand that you have no hormones in your body being produced at a decent amount. So I'm going to replace everything for you at a low concentration just to get the message across. But the idea is to go low and slow.
Got it. Makes sense. I mean, there's so many different lifestyle strategies, but it's really about getting those right amounts at the right time, right? Because a lot of times when we have hormones, when they're imbalanced, it's like cortisol, for example. It's not that it's bad, right? It's like we need them at the right amounts at the right time. So like we kind of like vilify some things, but it's really about the balance, as you mentioned.
Yeah, cortisol is a corticosteroid. It breaks down your body, but it also helps with inflammation. So at the right time coming it helps with inflammation. And at the wrong time, it causes chaos, right? So having the right amount at the right time is very, very crucial. Especially, all hormones are dangerous, regardless of what you look at. Right? It could be anabolic steroid, it could be catabolic corticosteroids. Either way, they are dangerous to us. So having them at the right amount at the right time is actually beneficial. Same amount at the wrong time could be detrimental to our body. So
makes sense.
You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
So when it comes to replacement therapy, like what should we be looking out for, right? What are different types of hormones? Like to my understanding, there's a bioidentical, right? There's a natural. Like what are the differences between that?
Okay, so first of all, the hormones that we are talking about are basically estrogen, progesterones, testosterones, DHEA, pregnenolone, some thyroid medications, things like that. And the word bioidentical comes in from the chemical structure of these hormones are identical to what a body produces, right? Now, either you can take from a dead person and take the hormones out of them and inject it over cells, which would be a crude way of doing that thing, because we'll be hoping for people to die so we can take the hormones out of them. But the science have advanced so much that we can actually make the same exact hormone in a lab. And you use that hormones in the lab, produce identical to humans, and use them either take it topically, take a capsule, suppositories, injections, whatever, right? These are human identical. Now, the identical hormones, they're not patent protections. So what the pharmaceutical companies will do is they'll tweak a little bit to the chemical structure, add some components to it, make it a brand new chemical structure, and make it and so that it's patentable. And so that's what they try to give you in form of birth control pills and some other types of hormones. This is what we call the synthetic hormones because they're not identically in chemical structure to the human body. Now, what's wrong with it? On the surface value, if you get the symptoms relief, what's the harm? The harm is not in getting rid of the symptoms. The harm is in how long does it stay in your body. As I said earlier, all the hormones are dangerous to you, all of them. Doesn't matter if it's a bioidentical or synthetics or whatever. All hormones are dangerous to you. So our goal is to produce at the right time, get the job done, and get the hell out of there, right? And so the body has a system built into it where it produces like once or twice a day, metabolizes really, really fast, and gets rid of it within 12 hours. The synthetic form of hormones can stay in your body for up to 45 days. 45 days. And some of the hormones are only supposed to stay in your body for 12 hours or less. So the problem is not in the hormones doing the job. It's how long does it stay in your body to do the damage. And if you stay long enough, it will cause damage, long-lasting damage for the rest of your life. And that's what the issues are.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, when it comes to bioidentical, like, is there anything that could be detrimental in terms of that? Like, is there anything we should look out for in specific?
So all the hormones the body produces are in proper ratio. Nothing is too much or too little, right? They all have to function at a certain ratio. And so identifying that ratio is very critical. You can get that by giving you all the hormones replacement, like in terms of menopause. But if you are not in menopause, then the key is to allow your body to adjust the hormone levels on its own, and just adjust. You can manually adjust maybe one hormone or two hormones at the most. The safest one to adjust is progesterone, because don't seem to have a lot of side effects, don't have a lot of issues with it. So if you just adjust the hormones with the progesterone only, chances are you're not going to get somebody in trouble, right? You're not going to have a lot of issues dealing with it. But if you try to adjust hormones with estrogens and testosterone, they have potentials of cancers. And so now you're playing with you're playing with fire. Now, nothing wrong with playing with fire if you know what the fire is and where it is. But for me, I don't want to play with fire. If there's an easier path to get the hormone balancing done, I will choose the easier path every single time, which is a progesterone path. So the hormone balancing it's an art. It's I wish it was science only, but it's absolutely art, right? So measuring levels may not give you all the picture. Understanding patients and where the symptoms are coming from, and having a diary over the next 2-3 months to see the patterns is what's more critical for me. Once I know the pattern on how people are behaving, I can work with the pattern. I can break the pattern. I can create a new pattern, or I can help these people out.
Got it. Yeah. Make sure you get those patterns right, because it's like about the hormonal cycles, right? Because hormones, like, they are produced at certain times, right? And we need certain amounts. And because a lot of times we just have like these huge, like, boluses, right? And we just kind of like get it all at once, right? But what you're saying is like have it more kind of balanced out in a sense.
Exactly. And so our goal is to balance it out as much as possible. Plus, we are giving exogenous hormone, which is from outside the human body. And so we have a certain time that we give out every day. We do not know when the body needs it. Like the doctor would tell you, hey, apply every morning. Well, what if you need it in the afternoon only? You don't know that part. And so if you have a diary of when the symptoms are coming from, what time they're coming in, what sorts of problems you have, I can fine tune the hormone delivery for you. So sometimes we tell you, hey, take this in the morning, take this in the evening, take this in the afternoon. There's a reason for this timing, because we know your patterns, when your needs are going to be. And so based on that, we're going to give you at that time only.
Got it. And is there anything else that we should look out for? Like, if we're going to do these treatments, like, is there anything we should look for to do it optimally, like sourcing, all these types of things?
So if you work with a good source of compounding pharmacy, most compounding pharmacy are registered with the state, as well as some of them are also registered with the federal government, which is the FDA. So dealing with a reputable compounding pharmacy is absolutely a plus. There are a lot of local pharmacies, like in your city, in your state, that may be able to serve you. And like my pharmacy is a national pharmacy, because we are heavily regulated by both the feds and the local governments, and we ship all across the United States. So our scrutiny levels are even higher than a regular pharmacy. So that's the first thing. Second part, please keep in mind, hormones are not safe. I don't care what anybody tells you, right? If the safety comes not from the hormones itself, the safety comes from understanding how to use it correctly. That's where the safety comes in, okay? Like, for example, knives. Knives are dangerous unless you know how to use it to cut cut your vegetables, right? But they're extremely dangerous if you do not know what you're doing. Hormones are exactly the same way. They're extremely dangerous, but if you know what you're doing, it becomes such a good tool, right? So understanding, do not take hormones in your own hands and just do it on yourself, and just buy something from the internet from some rogue online pharmacies or online agents that's selling this hormone, so to speak, right? Work with the professionals that understands how to manage them correctly. The safety is not in the hormone. The safety is in the person using it, teaching you how to use the hormones correctly.
Right. Yeah, we gotta make sure to use these correctly for sure.
Yeah.
So when it comes to testing, like, is there a certain test like to actually measure these things in the first place?
So I've done, oh my God, probably over 250,000 patient testing. A humongous amount. I've served over 1 million clients in my life, right? Through all my doctor networks. So I've
Wow.
seen so much testing. And I hate to tell you, but testing doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't give me
Really?
kind of give me some idea as to where you might be, but does not tell me anything that's wrong with you. Testing is not to find out problems. Testing is there to confirm the therapy. That means I only test people after I initiate treatments to confirm that what my findings were actually accurate and correct and that has changed your hormonal levels in your body. So if you're using testing to diagnose or to find out problems, it's a wrong way to use a test.
Very interesting. Yeah. So it's usually more so to help guide a therapy and
Yeah.
kind of kind of see where we're at in terms of that.
Exactly. Like all my guys with friends will come to me and say, "Hey, I take my testosterone and it's like it's very, very low. Should I take testosterone?" I goes, "Why? Why do you take testosterone in the first place? Why do you check? Why did you do the blood test in the first place? What kind of symptoms were you having?" Right? So I look at the symptoms evaluation forms and I say, "Okay, maybe it's testosterone. Maybe it's just that you're stressed out. Maybe your diet's not in proper ratio. Let's fix those two things and see the testosterone levels will normalize on its own." And and just because your kid's testosterone level is 900, that doesn't mean you need to be 900. You could be very well be okay at 400 or 300. Who knows, right? As long as you understand that everybody is different and unique, I want to make sure people understand that testing and treating is not when it comes to hormones. Hormones is you identify the problems, you come to a conclusion if it's hormone related, you prescribe them the hormones, and then you evaluate or test to making sure that the levels are rising and it's improving your health. If it's not, then we got to do something else.
Yeah, a lot of times we want to go to these fancy things, right? But it's often the simple things that actually are required. Just are you eating correctly? Are you sleeping? Like these things that actually, if you get those in place, we're going to heal so many different things.
And that's what I advocate with all the people. I said, don't jump to conclusion and do not put all your faith in these pharmaceuticals that's going to solve all your problems. I wish that was the answer. I'll be a gazillionaire right now. If everybody trusted all the drugs that's out there and they say this is going to heal everything, then you know what? It should have been happening by now, but it's not. It is not. And I'm telling you, as a pharmacist, I fill over 3,000 different types of medications in my pharmacy, and I wish they did all they're supposed to do. They are not. They are not the ultimate savior for mankind. So, only thing that's going to save us is give the control back to the human body, stay the hell out of the human body's jobs that is there to repair, rejuvenate, and regenerate. And to do all those three things, it needs to basically be grounded, give the proper nutrients, and do not put anything junky inside the body because that's the body has to process that.
Yeah, it's all about the basics, right? If you don't master anything, you got to master those fundamentals first.
Yes, master the fundamentals. It's like if you have a nice house and to keep the house clean, you cannot have your teenage boy or a girl having a party every day and expect the house to be spotless and clean and in nice condition all the time. It's never going to happen, right? So stop partying with your body and start using this as a temple and protect it from everything that's coming inside the house.
Right. And you also talk a lot about antioxidants, right? Especially glutathione. Can you explain what it is and all the
Well,
functions those play in our bodies?
so we just said this house is a temple, right? How do you protect the house? There's two things you need in the house. The two things. One is to basically get rid of all the chemical charges or the electrical charges that happens in the body, like oxidation, because you breathe oxygen. There's an electrical charge inside your body every single second that has to be neutralized. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of damage to the body. The second thing is that your liver is filled with all these toxic chemicals that needs to be neutralized, detoxified, and get rid of it. Our body produces one peptide, which is glutathione. The most abundant peptide in the whole human body is glutathione. does two things for you. Antioxidant, cleans the free radicals, and cleans the liver with all the toxic chemicals. If those two things are done, that means you're coming to your house is completely spotless and clean at all times. Imagine, I don't care if you have a 15-year-old kid throwing a party every night. You come in the morning, it's spotless and clean, and there's no damage to the whole house. If that happens every single day, oh my God, you can rest assured that your whole body's functions absolutely optimally. That's what glutathione does for us. Unfortunately, we have known about glutathione for 140 plus years. There was no product existed in the world that actually entered the cell membrane to do the work. A maid is only good to clean the house if it gets inside the house. If the maid is outside the house, you can have all the maids in the world, but the house is still going to be dirty because they can't get inside the house. And so that was my research, because when I first got into this whole antioxidant glutathione, because they were injecting it, they were taking this liposome technology products and this capsules and inhaled solutions. I had some NFL athletes, the inhaling solutions, some were using as suppositories. Nothing entered the human cell membrane. It's like a Fort Knox. So my research we figured out a way to get to the cell membrane. And now we are talking about this today because after a whole bunch of research and 14 years after I discovered the molecule, we discovered this technology in 2007. 14 years of research after release the product to the public. So it took me a long time to figure out, because it was so crazy for me to even think about this molecule, that I had to figure out how much to give, how often to give, how long can I give it to you? Am I going to get results? What kind of results am I going to get? Am I going to get side effects? Am I going to put people in trouble? If I'm going to get results, is the results forever? Is it going to result in everybody or just somebody? I had all these questions, no answers. And today we are sitting over here today because guess what? Today we can guarantee you that everybody who takes this product is going to get absorption into the cell membrane, 100%. 100% of people will reduce oxidative stress marker down. 100%, not 80%, 60%, 70%. No, 100% of people will get it down. And then if you have an issue due to oxidative stress, I'm not sure what the issues are, because there are thousands of issues out there. There's a 100% chance the issues will be resolved. I mean, if you take any drug, a blockbuster drug like GLP-1s for the weight loss related drug, it's only effective in 24%. And it's the number one drug sold in the world today. Billions and billions of dollars, right? It's the only $100 billion drug ever invented. And its effectiveness is only 24%. So just tells you the answer, right? Versus glutathione, if it's done correctly, it's an amazing. So my book, The Glutathione Revolution, it's my research for 12 years of research before I released the book. That's the stories inside the book. I can tell you all the stories, so you don't have to buy the book, but that's what the book is all about, is that I was just overwhelmed with success stories after success stories, and not just in humans, but even in animals. I mean, I gave it to a horse. The horse was not supposed to win anything. Just like, the fillers. They have this race for horses. They need to fill up all the slots, otherwise you can't race. You can't race with just 5 horses. You have all 24 horses has to be there. So they buy people horses. Hey, can you race? I'll pay you some money. So I had a filler horse that we were treating, the filler horse, and that horse literally won the race. I said, oh my God, it's just crazy, right? And so using just glutathione. So we had so many success stories, and we were just overwhelmed. But my brain was looking at researching it. So once we figure out what to do, we launched the company in 2021.
Awesome. So it's like a master antioxidant, essentially, that kind of cleans up the body and makes it work efficiently.
That's it. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything besides that one. It doesn't cure any diseases, doesn't solve any problems. But what it does, it unleashes the master doctor, which is your human body, to do all the work, right? Imagine the best surgeons who can fix anything. You just free that person up completely. I say, you can do whatever you want to do now. What about making money? Got it covered. What about done? Done. Whatever the problems are, it's done. You just go. What you are meant to do is to rejuvenate, regenerate the whole body, new organs, new tissues, new cells, everything. And as long as the glutathione can does his part, the body will do his job all day long for us.
Right. What are some natural strategies that we can utilize? Like, what can we do from a lifestyle standpoint to make sure these are optimized?
Oh, absolutely. So the first thing you do is, my grandpa used to tell me, I said, in order for you to have more money, you just have to reduce your expenses. If you have no more expenses, you have all the money in the world because you have no expenses, right? So to improve glutathione levels, it's the same thing. Reduce your expenses. What eats up all your glutathione level? Number one stuff is smoking. Either you cigarette smoking, cigar smoking, smoke inhalations from a gas stove or candles, fireplace, even the smoke from outside the environment. Smoke carries a lot of toxics, a lot of products of combustions that literally fills up all your lungs and all over the body. That's number one. Number two, a solvent. We call it alcohol. Solvents it just wipes up all your glutathione levels in your body for the next 3 to 4 hours, completely gone. So even a single drink of alcohol is not beneficial. The body will regenerate and reproduce more glutathione immediately, but as you get older, the ability gets lower and lower and lower. So after a while, I said, I know I can't drink like I used to drink when I was in my 20s. I said, there's a reason for that. The body cannot recover anymore because the body cannot produce the glutathione fast enough. Those two things, if you can do that, or there's some toxic chemicals exposure and all those things, if you can reduce all those things down, then whatever glutathione levels you have in the body is enough to sustain for the rest of your life, right? Now, to produce glutathione, you need 3 amino acids, glycine, glutamine, and cysteine. Cysteine is the only one that is not found on most of your diet because it's the stinky foods. So if you just eat cysteine-rich foods, right? Just put in your favorite search engine or your AI robot, ask it questions. Hey, what are cysteine-rich foods? And I'm vegan, or I'm omnivore, I'm carnivore, I'm paleo, I'm Mediterranean. Whatever diet plan you follow, it'll give you a list of foods to eat. That's your diet every single day. Cysteine-rich foods. So as long as you do that part, stop the consumptions, eat cysteine-rich foods, your body can produce for the rest of your life. Now, after the age of 28, 29, no matter what you do, unfortunately, the body also needs 2 molecules of ATP and 1 molecule of NAD. As you start aging, the ATP level starts dropping because of toxic exposure to the mitochondria. And so you get fatigued, lethargic, tired as you start aging. So you have no ATP energy. And so if you don't have ATP energy, you cannot produce enough glutathione. So at that time, supplementation comes into play. But until the 28, 29, 30 years of age, there's no need to supplement as long as you keep a healthy habit.
Got it. Thank you. So when it comes to antioxidants, I'm curious if you ever studied melatonin in terms of the antioxidant potential.
So let's talk about antioxidant in general. I put them in 3 different buckets, okay? Bucket number 1, all the antioxidants in the world. You can put melatonin, methylene blue, vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10. There's some Amazon noni juice and this Monavi juice and I don't know. There's so much stuff that's out there. Put all the stuff in bucket number 1. Okay? That's bucket number 1. Bucket number 2, our body produces 3 enzymes. One is glutathione peroxidase, GPX for short. Second thing is superoxide dismutase, SOD for short. And the third thing is catalase. So the 3 enzymes that body produces as an antioxidant to help with the process of antioxidants. That's bucket number 2. Bucket number 3 is a small bucket, which is glutathione. So let me just tell you, glutathione, which is bucket number 3, is more powerful than bucket number 1 and 2 combined. That's how powerful it is.
Wow.
So you can put all the antioxidants, all the enzymes that our body produces. Glutathione is more powerful, and it's like within an hour, all your oxidative stress markers comes down to bare minimum. Boom, like this. Vitamin C, melatonin, CoQ10, all these products will take you days, if not weeks, to even do something for you. This thing can do within 1 hour, completely normal. That's what you want. That's how powerful glutathione is.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, because there's oxidative stress, right? And essentially, like a free radical is something that needs a free electron in order to get neutralized, right? So that's essentially what you're talking about here, like all these different things that are required to kind of balance our biology, right? It's not that, you know, oxidation, all these things are just completely bad because we need some of it, right? But it's a reality. It's like going back to balance. And when these things get in balance and we have these lifestyle strategies in place, that's when we really start to kind of optimize our overall wellness.
That's right. And you're right. Oxidative stress is, by the way, each and every disease in the world has a link to oxidative stress today. Each and every disease, right? If you think about anti-aging medicine, the only way you can live longer is if you stop dying, right? If you don't die, you can live longer. It's a simple rule if you said that part. If you look at 100 years ago, the number one cause of death in the world was infections. So until the sanitary conditions came in play, hand washing, alcohol, penicillin came into marketplace, people are dying of infection. But that whole strategy of that thing extended people's life by 20 years. Now today, you would not take penicillin to live longer, would you? No, because the number of cause of death is not infection. The number of cause of death today is oxidative stress. So the key is, how can I bring oxidative stress down? One product, glutathione, or 1,000 different products like vitamin C, melatonin, methylene blue, and all those products. 1,000 of those, you're getting 1,000 vitamins, or just one glutathione. You can do the same thing. But what you said was profound. It's in a balance. It's the balance. Guess what? If you bring oxidative stress down to zero, you actually die faster because the body stops responding to any threats. The body needs to be on a high alert at all times, not a super high, but at alert at all time. And the little bit of oxidative stress is actually what keeps you alive. So you never want to go down to zero, but you want to get down to bare minimum. So the body says, okay, I see the stress. I have to constantly keep on fixing all the cells and repair every single thing. But if there's no oxidative stress, the body goes, hey, wait a second, I have nothing to do. Right? So the stress is actually good for us, but it has to be smaller. That was my first research back in 2008 and 9. When I first made the product, I can literally get oxidative stress down to zero. It has never happened ever in the history of mankind, and I was able to get down to zero. I said, okay, this is not good. When that happens, guess what? When that happens, rashes, diarrhea, stomach cramps, itching all over the body, headaches, all kinds of things. Says the hell breaks loose, right? And and when that happens, I know it's not a fun thing to do, right? It's not a fun thing. And so my first thing was, again, this was one of the doctors told me this story about all these things, and goes, hey, let me do some work for you. We had to identify what the dose was going to give you, which gets your levels low enough but not zero, right? And so what we found out, it's a topical spray form, and if you just apply 4 sprays, which is about 100 milligrams, will get your levels high enough to bring your stress down to bare minimum but not zero. And to me, that was the first start of how I get the balance of everybody else. And from that point onwards, as you said, the rest was history.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense for sure. Because a lot of times, like, what's your take on like overdoing it as well? Because a lot of times, like, we take so much of these antioxidants, right? And it's like we don't necessarily know what we're doing. Like, especially for younger people, right? We kind of like take all these longevity supplements that isn't really required, right? So, like, going back to when should we take it? And is there a certain time that would be optimal, like after exercise? Is that not optimal? Like all these things like are kind of, they work together, right?
They do. And I love the famous call, I'm stacking my longevity nutrition program. Stacking. The word stacking comes in. I take this vitamin and then this vitamin and then this vitamin. I take it this much before breakfast, this much before workout, this much after dinner. It's exhausting to me. And with my pharmacist brain, when I started looking into how everything works and why things work, I'm down to nothing. I take magnesium, I take my glutathione, I make myself, I'm a vegetarian completely, so I need to have some protein source. Instead of eating proteins, I take amino acids, and I get all my protein source from there. And literally that's it. I don't take any vitamins. My diet is very healthy. I do moderate exercise. I only drink water. And honestly, I have more energy today than I was in my 40s. I'm in my 50s now. I got more energy. I can climb the mountains. Right? I was with my son climbing Glacier Mountain over here in California, and it was a 28-mile hike, and I did it in 2 days. And there was only like 3 or 4 people that ever made it to the top. And I was one of the 4 guys. And I never hike. I don't hike, right? But I made it over there. I couldn't believe the human potential of myself until I started doing all this crazy stuff. So what I'm saying is that most of us are overdoing it. So I would challenge you to see if you can cut off literally half of the vitamins right off the bat. Like, don't even think about it. Just cut them off completely and see if you get more energy. Because sometimes there's something is that in the curve, the bell-shaped curve comes in, right? Initially it feels good, and once it goes over the hump, you actually start feeling worse, right? And most of the people are on the other side when we're doing way too much and not feeling good at all. The key is not just going back to the top, just cut back a little bit, just go to the top. You have to cut back all the way down to come on the other side so you can feel good all the time. And now it's been 3 or 4 years now, or probably more than that, is I have not taken any vitamins. And I feel literally energized, more energy. I've done my metabolic panel markers, and my markers are probably the best I've ever seen. My mitochondrial testings, my liver functions, my heart functions, my lung functions, everything is just performing to the peak performance right now. And I take actually no products right now.
Yeah. There's so much potential within us, right? All we have to do is activate it.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm hoping that I'm here to save you guys money. That's my goal, right? So, and I make a living by selling drugs and vitamins. That's my business. And I'm telling you, you don't need me.
Right, man. There's like, as you said, you like get these foundational practices down, and then of course like optimize as you go, right? But essentially that mindset of like your body knows what to do, and of course like things are fun to experiment with and things like that. But ultimately, it really comes down to the power is in your hands, and we just gotta take those right actions every single day.
That's right. Yeah, but please take my product. Because that's unfortunate. I'm sorry, but that's the only one that's going to keep your house clean. Again, it's not doing anything for you. It's just cleaning your house for free radicals and liver toxic metabolites. That's it. That's all it's doing. Okay, so that is not linked to any diseases, but eventually, if it doesn't get cleaned up, will get you in all kinds of troubles that you can even imagine.
Yeah, 100%, man. All right. Dr. Patel, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you so much today for coming on the show, sharing your story with us, all your insights about hormones. Like, because hormones are such an important part of our overall wellness, right? They make up so many different things. And like I said, they're chemical messengers, right? And they're responsible for so many aspects of our overall reality. And once we start taking control of these things through lifestyle practices and optimization, then we can start to see our health go to a whole nother level, right? So I appreciate you again, and it's been fun.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
For sure. So if people want to connect with you and all your work, where can we find you?
For me, it's there's 2 places. Either they go to centraldrugsrx.com, which is my compounding pharmacy. And for all my glutathione research, go to Auro Wellness, AURO Wellness.com. Again, it's AURO Wellness. Look at my blog articles. I have a bunch of articles. Get my book. And if you're over the age of 30, try for 30 days. Promise you. You will not be disappointed. If you are, we offer 100% money back guarantee. So you'll never be disappointed by our products.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.